money from an unlikely source. No, not Donald Trump, but James Patterson, who's launched an initiative on behalf of emerging authors. So it's entitled Go Finish Your Book campaign, and he's offering up to $50,000 to help authors finish their manuscripts. So the idea behind it is that it takes some pressure off, or a lot of the pressure off, I imagine, if it's that much, off the writer to give them time and space to write. And there's been 12 recipients picked already. And this is all, I'm presuming, his own money that he's putting up to it. And I thought this is, it sounds like a very altruistic endeavour that he's launching. And I thought this might be quite a nice time to kind of chat about James Patterson in general, because he is obviously this complete, powerhouse in the publishing world. He puts out dozens of books a year. He's famous for very heavily relying on co-writers to do much of the heavy lifting these days. And I know on Page One podcast, we spoke with Adam Hamdy a few years back, who'd done a few books with James. And he said he loved it. He said it was a great experience. And I've chatted to a few other folk who also are very happy with the setup. And the setup when you work with James seems to be, I like how we call him James. We're like best buds.
Like he's your mate.
JP.
Jimmy. When you go to Jim and you say, and he comes to you and he says, I've got this idea. I've got this idea for a story, and I've got some characters, and I've got some scenes to put in, and here's how it might work as a series. And that's a kind of, the framework. And then you go off and you write the book for him. And I've no idea what the pay structure is. I can't remember. I'm sure Adam Hamdy told us, but
I can't remember.
When you're guaranteed to get loads of sales, whether you're getting royalties or it's just a flat fee, I can't remember. But everyone that I know that
but it's a good chance to get that bestseller thing that you can.
It's a bestseller thing, yeah.
You can put that on your future book.
But can you use that individually?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you can. Yeah,
because the good thing, to be fair to him, what he does is he'll always put that co-author's name.
Your name's
on
it's
the
obviously
book.
smaller, but it's always in the front cover. It's not hidden away like a ghost.
So you have your book has been a Sunday Times bestseller or whatever,
yeah,
and you can then use that going forward for your own books.
And I was reading about. I was like, well, this seems like a very nice altruistic thing to do, and actually, it's not unusual for James. This is not the first time he's done this sort of thing. He has partly given away millions of dollars to literacy programs, bookstores, and libraries. I had a wee look on Reddit, and I found an article saying that just at Christmas 24, just past there, he gave $500 holiday bonuses to staff at a whole number of bookstores in America across 3 or 4 cities. So I mean, I know the guy gets a lot of flack for the business model that he has, and arguably rightly so. It is a very weird. It's more like a kind of factory that kind of puts up books. It's not really an author in the traditional sense that it used to be when he first started out, etc. And I know some people don't like that. Fair enough, but it's maybe not all bad news. Maybe the fact he's making tons and tons of money, he does seem to be putting it back in, or at least some of it back into the industry, and that can only be a good thing, I think.
But what happens if they don't complete the book? They got to give the money back.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I know, like in Scotland, and I'm sure it's the same in UK wide, but I know that the Scottish there's like various book trusts and stuff that you can apply for grants for £5,000, £6,000, £10,000 to say I need this money to allow me to take a year off work to finish this project, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And you pitch it, and if you get it, I don't think they really care if the project's done. I think you just get a lump of money.
It's same like the Arts Council.
I think it'll be very much like the Arts Council stuff, exactly.
Yeah.
So I suspect Jimmy doesn't really mind what you do with it. He probably won't notice it.
He's not going to give you
£50,000.
Yeah. You call him Jimmy.
But yeah, I mean, what should I mean?
It's a nice thing.
What is a nice thing, and what's your views on him in general? Where do you stand on his book factory machine lifestyle?
I mean, I think you always want transparency. That's always what you want. And so I think what I take offence to is when I've heard him say, "Oh, I'm writing 30 books this year," and I'm like, "You're not writing 30 books this year."
You've had 30 ideas for books.
Yeah, you've had 30 ideas, and now you've got 30 writers writing this book. So I think I'm fine with it as long as there's transparency.
Yeah,
around
that's fair.
it. So I mean, that's the only issue. I mean, it was weird though when I first discovered him, and I wrote, when I read was it Along Came a Spider and
Yeah.
Kiss the
Oh yeah,
Girls.
back in the day, yeah.
Yeah,
I love
and
those
I just
ones back. I remember
they were
reading them.
really good. They were really good. But I thought because the main character was black, that it was a black author writing the book. And then and his picture was never on the book, and was never on the paperback in the copies that I had.
So how did you feel when you found out that he was white? Was
I
that?
felt a bit like, oh, okay, well, that's a surprise. And then I don't know, it's a
is
bit.
that a bad thing?
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing because I enjoyed books. It didn't take away my enjoyment from the books. I think what I later took offence to later in life was the whole, white men in their 50s aren't getting book deals because everything's
That
being
was
given
I
that
was
to.
going to say,
Yeah, that's what I took. That's what I
dreadful
took
opinions.
offence
I mean,
to.
that's sort of an old white person's, old white man's
old
views.
shouts at
You know
clouds,
that,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Sitting on the porch.
Yeah, it's
Looking at the
like
world.
saying things like that don't help. But I like you, Tarek. I wasn't aware of his altruistic nature with these programs and things like that. And yes, it's a bit of a joke that, oh, the next James, have you read the latest James Patterson book? And everyone means the one that he didn't write. But he has created some. It's a model that works, and it's a model that sells. Frankly, people like it.
Sales are nuts.
So,
people read these.
They'll just. But I don't think the reality is. I don't think people care.
No,
I
exactly.
think I agree with that. I think that's the reality problem. Is that it's people like us who probably care more about this stuff than the average reader. They don't give a shit. They see James Patterson and big names. They know exactly what they're going to get. It'll be formulaic, etc. But it's a formula that they like, and they know they're going to be 20 books in every series he's got going. There's like 12, 20 books running, and they know they've got to have perfect holiday reads. So I think it's The one that I laugh at every time I see it advertised now is the James Patterson, Michael Crichton book. Because I'm like, who wrote that?
We spoke about.
One of them's dead, one of them does it right.
I think Tarek and I think either you and I spoke about that on my podcast, or I spoke about it on your podcast.
Oh, maybe,
I think and I think I take offence to that, really, because we got one writer who we know has a factory, and another writer, no thanks, I love Michael Crichton, who's dead. Yeah. I'm like, I don't. Who wrote it? I take offence to that, but again, I think it went straight up.
Oh, I mean, but it's two of the biggest names in publishing, right?
Yeah.
On the cover of a book.
One's dead and one.
All you need is James Patterson, Michael Crichton, and John Grisham.
Oh, can you imagine that
trifecta?
Yeah.
That's it.
Like
that would be huge.
It's like an event. It's like a publishing
event.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
that
like
is. It's sort of like it's almost like that.
It's
They've become more than authors. They're almost personalities in themselves. In their own way.
This is a weird question. Do you think, like, when you've been as successful as John Grisham, and I'm throwing James Patterson on the basis if he was writing his own books, do you think that you even have to try as hard when you have
I don't think
with the next book?
I know James.
And do your publishers just accept?
Well, I often look at Stephen King nowadays, and I wonder how much, like, his books getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I wonder how much, like, most authors would not get away with books that are that written. And I think you could probably slim a good few hundred words off most of his books these days and get a tighter, better read. But I think they know they're good. They know it'll sell hundreds of millions of copies, etc. Like, I don't think
exactly. I think you're not going to push back as much if you're the publisher because you know it'll sell anyway.
Yeah.
So if the author digs their feet in, then it doesn't matter.
I know Grisham a few years ago now. I don't know if he did it again, but he definitely self-pubbed a book.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that must have been. I mean, that must have been the money he made off that would have been massive because he's already this huge name, etc. Puts it up himself. Nobody knows who's publishing it. Nobody cares who's reading it.
It's like Brandon Patterson did the Kickstarter.
Very much.
Brandon Patterson. Brandon Sanderson.
Brandon Sanderson.
It's a new. But Brandon Sanderson did the Kickstarter, which was the biggest Kickstarter ever, and made like $5 million or whatever.
It's weird. The whole industry, it's just when you think about. I always say we look at publishing with rose tinted TV movie glasses on until you get in it and you realise the reality of it. But when you look at it now and you see how much it's changed, and technology's got a lot to do with that, but also how authors make money as well. It's a weird,
And I think that most people who just said, most people who read books don't know and don't care, and it's not.
No,
it's not. I mean, I remember learning about the Rich and Judy Book Club, and which obviously back in the day when they were on TV was massive, and if you were picked, you were guaranteed to have huge sales because they were massive. They were on TV.
Sunday Times bestsellers, everything,
So
all your dreams.
and my assumption was always, well, you must submit your book to them, and them or a panel of readers will whittle it down to 12 or whatever it is, and they'll be there in the book club. And it's not. It's like you pay £20,000 and you get on the book club, and that's how it works. And you know, you look at W.H. Smith, and they've got a bestseller charts, but it's not based on sales. It's based on each slot on the chart has a different price, and you buy a slot, and so like you learn about that stuff, and you're like, well, that's pretty distasteful. That's kind of I don't agree with that at all. But people don't care. People don't know, and people don't care. Like and maybe, you know, should they or should they not? I don't know, but I don't think that kind of stuff doesn't ever filter down to the public, and it doesn't.
Is there any curation at all there? Like if
I don't know.
If I was rich, could I say, here's £20,000, put me in the book club?
I suspect there must be some curation. There must be
there's an application. Someone must be filtering through these applications.
It can't just be anyone who pays £20,000. And I know nowadays, I can't imagine your £20,000 gets you a guaranteed £20,000 return.
No,
they're not as big, nowhere near as big as they were.
Yeah, definitely not. Well, there you go. I mean, I'm certainly going to look at this $50,000 to finish.
100%, man. Go for it.
I'm going to click.
Click
that link.
I mean, to be fair, it's no different to like applying for I'm just saying at uni, like applying for like a hardship.
True. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what I thought.
Yeah. That's all it is.
Just like an arts grant. It's just a sum of money you're getting to finish a piece of work you're doing.
It's nice to give back. So, you know, I will applaud him for that.
Thank you, James.
Thank you,
Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy P.